Warning, this episode contains mild to heavy explicit spoilers. Listen at your own risk.
Reviews, discussions, and theories about films in horror, sci-fi, and genre. This is the Horror Deconstruction. Like, share, and subscribe to hear more.
In a nondescript lab somewhere in Japan, two badly dubbed Gaijin doctors are observing the corpse of a very naked Japanese woman. The male scientist breaks out the tried and true reagent-filled syringe and injects the lifeless body. As the countdown to a resuscitation is deemed a failure, suddenly the body springs to life. The female scientist asking the useless question, is she really alive? The dead woman pays back the duo for lazurusing her by tearing out the Cronenberg-looking man's throat with a gruesome chomp and advancing onto the woman who, like a 70s exploitation trailer, screams and pauses in a freeze frame. A couple more Gaijin actors, and I use that phrase loosely, cosplaying as army soldiers, make their way to the office of Dr. Nakata, a man who has more to do with the sinister goings-on of the reanimated dead than we'll soon find out. This is the opening to Atsushi Moroga's Junk Shirogari, a B- zombie movie that owes its existence to Stuart Gordon's Reanimator, George Romero's Dead series, Robert Rodriguez from Dusk Till Dawn, and surely Capcom's Resident Evil video games. To buoy the paper-thin plot and give a MacGuffin as well as body count to the film, we're next introduced to a trio in garishly colored masks representing a Tengu, a demon, and a Hyotoko. I was well aware of the Hyotoko because an ex-girlfriend would always say I looked like one. She also said I looked like Shrek. Boy, those were the days. These three dudes are robbing a jewelry store, there's your Dusk Till Dawn connection, as one is stabbed in the foot by a brave but possibly very stupid woman. She in turn is shot off screen as we hear it's not a fatal gunning, according to one of the robbers. This is to give us, the audience, a reason to cheer on and to possibly cheer for the demise of these lawbreakers. Now, mostly their names aren't very important because some of them aren't gonna last long, surprisingly in a good and narrative twisty way. They escape through the efforts of their wheelwoman Kaori, whose dreams of splitting the 100K on this jewelry heist to afford a new car. There's the tropey level-headed leader, the backstabbing tough guy, and the whiny bleach-haired buffoon that accompany Kaori to make the trade on their stolen goods to an underworld bigwig. And I do mean wig because his hair looks extremely strange. His trio of henchmen surely up to no good will accompany him as they meet up for the exchange at a random abandoned supply plant. And this is how our characters will meet and find out that the dead will be hungry and incredibly bad party crashers for criminal activities. Now I will say this is not a well-written zombie movie. This is a very specific type of Asian zombie cinema. I myself am pretty bored of zombie films that can probably be attributed to the years wasted on The Walking Dead. But this is a uniquely Japanese time capsule of the years before the Western world was irrevocably altered. Things that stick out like a sore thumb are Dr. Nakata's halting English, for me at least. The native Japanese would have been fine because the Americans who speak it naturally are such horrendous actors it didn't matter. Why the film is called Junk, I have no clue. One character is about to shoot some drugs earlier in the film, but is thrown to the wayside. So junk, I would assume, means drugs, but not in this case. I guess maybe for the zombies there's drugs. Whatever. All the characters here are as hollow as it can be, so it tends to make more of a rooting for the on-screen gore instead of the actual characters. The DNX, which stands in for Herbert West's Reagent, the blue-skinned zombies in Nazi Romero's films, this is a movie that is well aware of its predecessors and is proud of it. It embraces its schlock. This is the only other movie besides Shaun of the Dead that directly calls the shambling creeps zombies, as far as I've seen, so they're well aware of what these things are. I'm not saying that this film is for everyone, but if you enjoyed early to late 90s, 2000s schlock Japanese films, this is for you. This movie is akin to a long-form FMV live-action sequence in between the levels of the original Resident Evil game. It's that level of kitsch and camp that made this movie work for me. The gore level is high, the zombies are slow, the final boss, the booba zombie from the opening, for some reason goes Super Saiyan, and her hair turns white for a final battle. It's gory, horribly acted, over-the-top violent. The military sends in two guys, to finish the job of destroying the plant. Now maybe this is some commentary on American military based in Japan, but oh boy did they ever spare the expense. It's dumb fun, it hits the notes I like about a certain era's sensibility in Japanese entertainment, so I can't blame you if you think it's garbage. I enjoyed it like a cowboy in a steakhouse, or in this case, a zombie in a fleshlight factory. 6.5 out of 10. Finding your ex-girl is now a superpowered undead creature who wears a leather jacket and for some reason found a matching pair of thigh-high boots. This has been the Horror Deconstruction.